Hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? As always, thank you so much for rocking and rolling with me and for tuning in to another awesome podcast episode. We are in for another treat, an awesome treat. Yes, we are. I hope you guys have been really great. We have an amazing special featured guest today. Today's featured guest is truly an awesome woman doing some awesome things. Please welcome my sister in Christ, Chauntrees Hill.
Yes. Woo-woo.
How are you doing? Thank you so much again for taking the time to come on.
Yes, I'm doing well. It's nice and hot here in Maryland, but I'm doing well. The day has been great. How are you?
Awesome. Been great. Yeah, here in Southern California, it's a nice warm 80 degrees. So,
Yes.
yeah, starting to really feel like summer. Well, it's officially now summer. So, yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if it snowed there during the winter, but snow down here isn't that usual. So, when it snowed,
Right.
it was interesting.
Yeah, we didn't get much snow this year, so I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I do like the snow, so
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Awesome. So my first question is: when you hear the words "everything attached to me wins," what comes to your mind?
Yeah, so when I think about that, I think of like the song "Right" with Jacqueline Carr. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I feel that God's doing amazing things in my life, right? And so the people who are attached to me will also win. You know what I mean? That kind of carries over to them. So whether it be my
Mhm.
family, my circle of friends, those, yeah, everybody wins because I just want to help everyone as God is helping me.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And it's like when you think about it, winning isn't just something you do, but it's a thinking mentality. It's a
Right.
lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
You know. DJ Khalid said, all we do is win, 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 no matter what. And in First Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58, it says, "Now thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ." So yes, we are winners, and yes, God has already given the victory. But for instance, the only way King David could get his reward um, was that he had to face a giant. So the
Right.
giant was like the key to the open door to his next level.
Right.
And so sometimes when we, likewise, when our only way to get to a victory is to be in a battle. There's no sports team ever gets a championship trophy without having to, um, go through a battle, whether that battle is a
Right.
basketball game or football game. But there's a process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's like we still got to walk out and confront the battle so we can apprehend what the battle
Hmm.
brings, which is our victory, our next level. And
Right.
so I was wondering, like when we were born, God brought us into this world as winners, and so um, obviously when He created you with a awesome winner's mindset. So what were your early days like, and did you ever imagine you would be impacting people all over as you are now?
Yeah, it's a great question. No. In my early days, like I've always been like that person that like my friends come to for like advice or opinions or things like that. So I'm able to help encourage people, things like that in that way. But I've always been like just behind the scenes, never like in front, wanting to be in the spotlight, any of that. Any public speaking classes that I took in school, it was like I was so nervous. I didn't
Yeah,
want to do them because I was like, oh my goodness, like please don't let me slip up on my words. Like, do they really want to hear what I have to say? And so yeah, I didn't think that any of this would be where I would be right now.
wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Who would have thought, right?
Right, right. God knew, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
And you've been doing some pretty amazing things. So you are the co-host of Faith Focus and Fitness Strong. Would you mind sharing what that is and how was that birth?
Yeah, so Faith Focus and Finish Strong is just a community of women. Is actually birthed by Marcia Cole. She's our founder. So it's something that she has started. It's her baby. And I've just been blessed to be a part of like the leadership team because obviously when you're building ministry, you need help. And you need teammates that are like-minded and those who kind of help the success of the ministry. So she asked me, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Not really knowing like what my role was at first because at first coming into it, I met Marcia in 2021 when I actually relocated here to Maryland. And so it was just kind of listening in and saying, oh, okay, like this is great. I can get encouragement. I can still be behind the scenes. I don't really have to do too much until, she was like, look, I'm going to have you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so she's like, I need you to co-host. And I'm like, wait, what? You want me to do what? So yeah, since then I kind of just, step in when she is unable to kind of host the show. Or if there's like, a topic or something that I'm kind of passionate about and she's like, hey, can you do it? I'm like, okay, sure. So that kind of is how it came to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Marcia. She is a awesome woman of God. She had me on a panel a couple years ago, and she's just an awesome woman, an awesome prayer warrior, and she'll literally manifest heaven. And it's like she's doing great things. So big shout out to her as well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I know that's where we met. I think the first time is when you came on for the conference.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was definitely all over that. You see his fingerprints on. It was just great.
Yes, yes, you have to come back then.
I'd be honored. I'd be
Yes,
honored. Thank you.
yeah.
And so the on the on the Freedom Circle podcast, what are like some of the things you talk about?
Yeah, so with Freedom Circle podcast, it's myself, Marcia, and we have another sister friend, Sade, and we talk about various different topics. Whenever we talk or kind of get together and hang out, and it was
Yeah,
kind of just like, you know what, that could be an episode. Like maybe someone needs to hear this, and so we decided, okay, well, let's start this podcast because we want to have just real raw, transparent conversation. So it can be, about our faith walk. It could be about families. It could be about relationships. It's various topics that we want to cover. And if we can just help one person, I mean, I think that,
yeah,
is the mission.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So, did you guys come up with the name for that, or it was already there?
Yeah, so we kind of brainstormed together. We definitely wanted freedom to be a part of it. But with circle, it's a circle. I mean, it's a complete
Mhm.
thing. And for us, we feel like we really have created like this sister circle where we can be vulnerable with one another. We can pour into one another. We can pray together. We can stand in agreement and have just those real conversations, but with love.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of freedom, we recently celebrated Juneteenth, which commemorates when slavery officially ended.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, I think one of the saddest things was that even though the slaves were free, they didn't know how to live free. They're so accustomed to the slavery mindset that many of them chose to stay with their masters. And
Yeah.
um, in the same sense, today many people are free, but they are in some ways still chained to the thing that they were once bound to and that
Yeah.
old way of thinking. But I believe that, with your podcast, it not only lets people know that they are free, but it helps them and shows them how to live in their freedom, how to
Yeah.
live liberated and free and justified. And it also equips them with the right tools and resources of how to like walk out freedom, because it's one thing to be like, oh, you're free now, you can do whatever, but it's another thing to like be like, you're free. So let me walk with you step by step and show you what real walking in freedom and living in freedom looks like. So that's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, I think that, we don't have these conversations all the time, right? And even just in smaller groups, people just are afraid to communicate sometimes, or really they don't know where to start or how to
Mhm.
start the conversation. So, in hopes that we can do that, just start the conversation, I mean, and
Yeah.
see where that takes people. Yeah.
That's dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And in that same sense, I remember it was maybe several years ago when the Lord spoke to me and He told me, "You can have what your faith will go shopping for." And
Mm,
then He posed a question: "How big is your cart?"
right.
Yeah, I mean, and many people feel, I think they feel the word faith is just a word for Sunday, and they feel that the word faith is just confined to Sunday. But it's like when you think about it, faith is really a lifestyle. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely feel like it's a lifestyle. I mean, no matter what we do in this life, we have to have faith, right? It's how we move, how we walk through this life. You know, what I mean? Are you trusting God? Are you putting your faith in Him? In the good times, but also in the bad times. I mean, it's not
Mhm,
just those one particular moments that you kind of pick and choose of when you want to have that faith. It's just
mhm.
having that all the time, knowing that okay, like I'm gonna get through this. It may be dark right now, but I'm gonna get to the other side of where He wants to take me
Yeah,
every day.
yeah. And I believe faith is so important, and like the dreams and visions God has given us are so important because it's like when you think about it, every building you've ever been in was once just a thought in someone's mind. And so you are literally standing in the manifestation of someone's thought. So when you think about it like that, it's like it makes you to wonder, well, how many people are waiting to stand in the manifestation of my thoughts?
Right, right. That's good, and that's true because again, it's that fear, right? People have fear to start it, to be like, okay, well, I have this great idea. Would it really be great? Or they have like that, negative self talk, and it's like, no, you can do it. Have faith that you can do it. It needs to start somewhere, even if it's something small. Just go after it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm also a certified life coach, and I always tell people that big staircases, they always start with steps. You
Mhm.
can't have a big staircase without a step. So one step after another step after another step. And so one thing I do is I have them draw a big staircase on a big like cardboard piece of poster board paper, and I have them draw the steps. So on each step they're able to write, and like each week I have them write like, well, first I have them draw or write their goal at the top of the staircase, then
Yep.
I have them draw like a little figure of themselves at the bottom staircase, and each time we meet or talk, we'll talk about another step towards their goal, and they'll write it in the step to help them grow towards their goal.
I love that. Because we always hear the saying, one step at a time. You know what I mean? But like when you actually see it, it's like, okay, this is the goal for the day or the week or that you're trying to hit, and it's like celebrate the small wins, right? So each
Yeah.
step that you do, celebrate that because it's something you moved up another step. You're going to the next level in order to get to that bigger goal at the top.
Exactly, that's real. And on that same note, I believe like it's so important. There's always a process involved in life. It's like, for instance, if you're baking a pie, if you take the pie out too soon, then you got to start the process all over again. And so, like, it's so important to not to abort the process because if a caterpillar would aborted its process, it would never tap into the greater version of itself. And so it's like there's for us, I feel like there's wings on the inside of us that can only come out as we go through the process. So like there's a greater version of ourselves awaiting our arrival.
Yeah, that's good. And I feel like also I think of like, plants, they're how they're started, right? It's in the dirt. It started with just small seed. You have to water it, take care of it daily. And then as you do that, it grows, right? And then it sprouts into this beautiful flower. And it's like, oh my goodness, like this is what came from just that one seed.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love it. It's great. It's great.
Yes.
And always another thing I tell people like there should always be growth. It's like how little kids they'll mark their growth on the wall. One summer they're this high, the next summer they're this high, and it's like what good is going from one 365-day period to another and just saying happy new year, happy new year, happy new year if there's no growth within
Right.
those 365 days. So like growth is essential.
It is, and it's nice to see it. You know what I mean? So, like you said, with the kids, making the marks on the wall, you want something tangible. You want to be able to see, okay, this is my progress. Not just saying,
Mhm.
oh yeah, well, I did this, but no, you actually see that,
Yeah,
hey, I'm in a different place than I was last year.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, that's true. And I was wondering, like, if there's someone watching or listening to this who may be on the brink of giving up, who maybe they have trouble seeing beyond what they see, what words of hope, advice, or encouragement would you give them?
Yeah, I would say, it has to start somewhere, right? I think that there is great power in being able to ask for help, even if it's just one person to say, hey, you know what, I'm struggling. It's okay to say that, you know what I mean? Because we can't do things alone. You know what I mean? And I know that sometimes when we have like those dark days, we feel like, hey, we're the only person that's going through it. And that's not true. There's so many
Yeah.
people that are going through things, like it looks different for them, but it might be the same type of thing. And so you may be able to help them, they may be able to help you. It could be, something in that, but like don't give up. I mean,
Mhm.
life is worth living. You're meant to be here. There's a purpose for you to be here, and it's one step, 1 minute, one day at a time, but you're gonna get there because there's always sunshine after the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Definite pearls of wisdom. It reminds me of the story back on 9/11 when the World Trade Centers or towers were bombed. There were these two firefighters trapped underground for about a week, and when they were rescued, they were asked, how they made it, and they share that, when one of them started to give up, the other one would be like, "Come on, you got this. We got this. We'll make it." And then when the other one started to give up, the other one would be like, "Come on, we got this." And so basically, they would volley encouragement back and forth from one another,
Yeah.
and it's important. I believe, and there's many examples for this. Like, it's important to have community, and even like when you watch an Animal Planet, it's always an animal who's disconnected from the group that
Yeah.
the predator goes after. Because there's strength in numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And it's always fun, more fun when you can do it with someone else, right? Think about
Yeah,
working out. Sometimes we don't want to work out. But when you have that workout partner and they're like, look, come on, like just do it, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. It's helpful, versus us doing it by ourselves and we're like, we're gonna skip that 5 minutes because no one's here to see that I'm not doing this last 5 minutes. But yeah, it's
yeah,
always better when we can do it with someone else.
yeah, definitely. And so, finally, how can people connect with you, and where can they tune into the podcast?
Yeah, so Freedom Circle podcast is, every Friday we go live at 12 o'clock. So we, release a new episode every Friday. We have an email, so you can email me at freedomcirclepodcast@gmail.com. We definitely love feedback, or reviews or, anything that people want to hear, they want us to talk about. We're definitely open to that. So we definitely want to hear from them. And then for, Instagram and Facebook, it's just Chauntrees Hill, for both platforms that I can be reached.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I definitely want to have you back in the future, and I just want to leave you with some encouraging words and let you know, like, you've been made for this, And when you think about it, a diamond is really just a piece of coal that did
Yeah.
well under pressure. So, like, when you think back of all you've had to get through to get to where you're at now in life, it was all preparation to get you to where you're at now, and anything else you may going through, it's all just another season of preparation. But just continue to tap into that inner blue flame, that you may walk into the fullness of all who God has called you to be.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I definitely appreciate the invite. It's definitely a blessing to be on here. So, I mean, anytime you'd like to have me, I'm welcome. I will come back. And we definitely love to have you as well as a guest, even on the podcast. Definitely come and drop some knowledge and encouragement, on us. We'd love to have you back.
Thank you. Yes, honored. So we'll definitely make that happen.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for coming on, and thank you everyone again for tuning in. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you've been greatly blessed As always, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you rocking and rolling with me for these 8 seasons of this podcast. This is truly the podcast that obedience is built. 144 episodes and counting, and just being faithful over what God has entrusted me with. So I'm very grateful for that. So, as always, this is BDP, Brian David Porter, living in purpose, on purpose, intentionally. Till next time, you guys be blessed. Love you all to life.
Bye.